gonna have to link these videos together, so I had to stop because it was getting close to 10 minutes and my editor doesn't like videos past 10 minutes. So I come home about 4 o'clock in the afternoon from massage therapy school, which was, well, it was way far away. And my mother is sitting there in her robe smoking a cigarette and tells me, you need to clean up the kitchen before I cook dinner. And my mother stayed home all the time. I had like all these books. I had a shit ton of homework that I had to get done, get to sleep, go work, and then get back to school. And this school was going to be intense, and she encouraged me to do it. But there was no way I could come home and be the maid. And I had always cleaned the house all the time. That's what I did. My mother didn't. She just sat around, watched TV, smoked her cigarettes. And I was like, but I have a lot of homework. And it was like, well, too fucking bad. You have responsibilities here. And oh, horrible. At that point, there was a lot less tolerance for me trying to get out because she had lost money from me from Social Security. She had got a check for a long time. And that's a whole nother cluster. But I was dating Jamie at the time, and I called him and I cried. I said, I'm never getting out of this house. She'll never let it happen. She's not let my sister happen. My sister never moved out without a big freaking fighting drama. My sister had to leave her stuff behind. At that point, I had a whole closet full of housewares because I was ready to get out of the house, and any extra money I had, I would squirrel away and buying things for a house so I could be self-sufficient. Like I had crock pots and dishes and towels and shower curtains. That's what I did with my money. Instead of, doing crazy things like teenagers did, I was setting up housekeeping. So he's like, hey, come live with me. And I'm like, excuse me, I'm not going to do that. But he's like, yeah, we'll because he had an apartment with a friend, with a couple, and he had his own room. And so I considered it, and I knew I couldn't leave the house. If I tried to, my mother would throw a big fit, take all my things. That's what she did. But she did to my sister constantly. So I snuck out of my window, drove my big SUV up to my window, and I loaded painstakingly everything out my window, would climb out, load it back up. I had this whole SUV full. Last thing in was my cat. And I drove off. I locked my door and drove off. I couldn't handle it anymore. So my mother at about midnight tries to come wake me up and realizes I'm gone. And I have to work for her. So I have to drive down, and I didn't have any idea what it was going to be like. And she comes up all, nice because there's people around. You could have said goodbye to me. I'm like, yeah, like you would have let me go. And that started absolute hell in my life. I mean, she was nasty. She was mean. I needed to get out of the vehicle. I needed to get a little less of a payment because she was a co-signer. She put up every roadblock for that too. And after that, I don't remember how long it was after I moved in that I married Jamie, but from the time I met him to the time I married him, it was only 50 days. We went out. And the reason we got married so fast is because the couple we were living with was paying for the apartment, and in exchange for Jamie to take the guy to and from the base, because he wasn't a rank high enough to live outside the barracks and get rental housing. But if you were married, they provided housing. So we're like, let's just do it. Let's get married and we'll have housing, because this couple was like fighting all the time and we couldn't, do that. So I tried to stay in massage school. That didn't work out because where I lived and where the school was totally two different opposite directions. I lived in Orlando and it was in Castleberry, and I worked in Deltona. And once you do papers, you are like disgusting head to toe. You have to get a shower and whatnot before you go. And it wasn't in a place where I could stop by my mom's house, get ready, and go. I had to quit school. So at that point, I was still working for my mother. It was very volatile. It sucked. Eventually got better after I got married, because she was like, oh, she's married a Navy guy. She made it into like she liked it. Now, I got married on September 12th, and on October 2nd, I got a positive pregnancy test. So it was like, wow, here we go. Here's life. Grow up, Melissa. So I needed to quit my job doing papers because I was getting incredibly motion sick. Like I had to stop on the side of the road all the time. Oh my God, it was absolute hell. So I tell my mom I'm gonna need, and she is so pissed off that I'm gonna quit. Took her 2 months to find somebody. She finds somebody. She makes me take this man that I don't know out on a route in a rural area in the backseat. Like anything could happen. I'm thinking, what the hell were you thinking? You know what I mean? So he gets ready to take the route, and my mom calls me the night before I'm supposed to quit and says, I'm sorry, you can't quit. He's just not ready. His car broke down. Jamie's like, okay, we'll take your car and we'll leave it and he can use it for the week because you are quitting. This is bullshit. Because she kept stopping me from quitting this job. So we bring the car, we leave the keys, let him use it. And then he screws the route up that she hadn't been training him like she told me she was. And I get the nastiest, you fucked me over, you selfish little bitch. You promised you'd 2 months she had to find somebody. That's like ridiculous, you know. It made me train the guy, and then it was all, I was mean because why? You knew I was sick. You knew I needed to quit. You had plenty of time. So then that goes on, and I get, so I quit, and she withholds my last paycheck, and I wanted her to pay my insurance with that. Well, I looked for a new job, got a new job at Target. She won't give me the money. You quit with me. You don't deserve this last, paycheck. And I'm like, yeah, I need you to use it for my car payment and my insurance. And she refused and threatened to take my car away from me. And then she actually did call and cancel my insurance and left a message with me, you better not be driving because the police know you have no insurance. And and here I was completely freaked out all the time that she's going to do something horrible to me. And Jamie said, enough's enough. She won't sign the car over for you to trade in and get a better one, that's a more reasonable payment. She canceled your insurance. She won't let you have another job. And every other day she's calling and threatening to come take your car. She can fucking have the car. So he and a friend took the big SUV, and I knew my credit was going to be screwed, but at that point I didn't care because I just needed out from under the threat. He parks the car in the driveway with the payment book and the keys and just left it. And then all hell broke loose. I got messages that I was dead to her, that Jamie better call her because she has information that the baby might not be his, like I'm sledding around everywhere. I wasn't that kind of girl. I was not that kind of kid. I was goody two-shoes. Just, I didn't do stuff like whatever she was saying. That I stole some of her jewelry. Like all these crazy, like off-the-wall things. So for my 19th birthday, I got a toaster oven, and Jamie changed my phone number so I can get away from the abuse. And I went through my entire pregnancy alone with no mom, no sister, because in my family, if my mom is pissed at you, you have to be pissed at the person, or you will suffer her wrath too. So I'm all alone. And I couldn't keep my job at Target because the day that I started, because she got wind of that, I couldn't drive because she said that the police were going to come after me because she had notified them that there was this vehicle with no insurance. Fun times. And so I stayed home, and I actually got a job at a military convenience store and worked as much as I could until we had the baby. And my sister knew I had the baby. I had Kyle. And 5 minutes after he's born, she's on the phone to the hospital and wants to talk to me. Because she's sorry? No, but because she felt like she needed to be involved in this experience. And stupid me just let her right back in because I was, you have a baby and you want your mom. So I just remember this overwhelming feeling when they put Kyle up on my chest and how like I would kill for him in that moment. Like I could not believe how much that I loved this little creature I just met. Oh my God. You can't even describe it in words how you feel of this little human, that you're responsible for. I will never forget that. But that started a whole spiral of me into a really deep depression, and a lot of it came from, how did my mom ever look at me and want to hurt me? Will I do that? Will I look at like a baby like this and ever want to like take revenge or hurt them? I can't handle the thought of that. I can't handle the thought that I would hurt this little thing. And so for the longest time, I thought I'm a terrible human, and probably God's going to take this baby from me so I don't hurt him, because I'd rather... the thoughts that went through my head. So I ended up in counseling because I was an absolute disaster. I was convinced he was going to die in his sleep, so I would stay up all night and hold him. And one time he got sick, and he had a fever. It was from his shots, but he was really, really sick, and I thought, this is it. This is when he gets taken from me. And when I went to that counselor, she heard all this, and she said that she very rarely suggests completely cutting somebody off, but she didn't see any resolution with this person in my life, and that it was going to cause me lifelong harm and emotional damage, and to just cut it off now. And I didn't, because we were away, and I thought it didn't matter. I thought not being in a physical relationship with my mom, you know what I mean? I wasn't living at the time that I had all the problems. We had already moved to South Carolina with the Navy, and I thought I'd be okay, but I clearly was not okay. And I got put on medicine, I got put in counseling, all sorts of things happened, and I don't really know when I came out of that. I honestly don't, because I don't remember ever feeling secure in my parenting until a long time in the future. There was so much guilt if I didn't record it exactly the day that their tooth erupted on their gum with the little tooth chart, I felt like my children would think I didn't love them and I didn't care about them. And for many, many years, there was so much guilt over everything. Like, Kala has a quilt, Cassie doesn't. I have to stay up till 2 in the morning, to make hers, because if I don't keep up with it being equal, I mean, you guys, I was a mess. Being a mom was the absolute most important thing, and to do it right. And there was a right and a wrong way. And there was a way that I did everything for them so that they always knew they're cared for, because I kind of felt like if I ever crossed the line into caring about myself, even like to take a shower alone, then I might turn into my mom. I might flip that switch that would make me hurt them. And I never hit them. I never did that, but it was more than that. My mom could have beat the hell out of me. If she would have been sorry, it's different, but my mom hated me. And so then I hated her, and I thought, oh my God, what if my kids hate me? I have to make damn sure that they never hate me, because I couldn't live with that. I'd rather die. I would rather them be motherless and have good memories of me than to ever have a memory of me wanting to cause them harm. So in all this, Jamie was my rescuer. He came in and put his foot down and kind of took me away from that. And I would have done anything for him at that point. And that's really where I think my blindness came in the things he was asking for me, because it wasn't as harsh as my mom. And he did truly, and he still genuinely, truly loves me. And I know that, but he has his own past that has set him up for certain patterns of behavior. And I have my past that let me be open to responding to those patterns of behavior and giving him the response he wanted. The very submissive, I'll do anything to make it right. I just need you to be happy with me. And he didn't do it on purpose. His dynamic and my dynamic from our past just collided into a total unhealthy situation. And being younger, it worked. It absolutely worked, because it was the same kind of dynamic without the overwhelming feeling of hate and abuse and just anger. But we grew up, and I grew up, and I stopped wanting to be a little girl, and I wanted to become a woman. And that's where we broke down. And that's going to be the topic of my next vlog, is how it went down in our marriage, where we kind of steered wrong, and what we're doing about it now. But this one's pretty long, and so I stop here. And that is a little bit of my background. There's a whole lot more to it, but the important message is I learned to accept shitty treatment, scrambling to make it right for survival. And that wasn't a healthy way to start a marriage, not in the least little bit. So see you next time.